Yo, what is going on, everyone? My name is Nick, or the Notorious Fantasy, and in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my week number 6 defenses to stream for fantasy football in 2021. Inside today's video, I'm going to be going in depth into 5 different defenses that I believe you guys should pick up off the waiver wire right now based upon their matchup for week number 6 of the 2021 fantasy football season. But before we do get on into things, I would like to ask, if you are new to the channel and you do end up enjoying today's video, to please make sure that you do hit that subscribe button down below. And while you're down there, whether you are new to the channel or not, please make sure you hit that like button down below. It would help us out a ton. So without further ado, let's get into my week number 6 defenses to stream. We begin with the Dallas Cowboys defense going up against the New England Patriots. In New England right now, the Dallas Cowboys defense is being rostered in 45% of leagues. Last week, the Dallas Cowboys defense went up against the Giants offense that got hurt immensely in that game. They lost Daniel Jones, they lost Saquon Barkley, and they lost Kenny Golladay. So Mike Glennon was out there for a lot of the game. But at the end of the day, even when all 3 of those players, Kenny Golladay, Saquon Barkley, and Daniel Jones, were in the game, the Dallas Cowboys defense still played very well. At the end of the game, the Dallas Cowboys defense had 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, and 20 points allowed. And that was up against the Giants offense. This week, they get the Patriots offense. And I'm not sitting here and I'm not going to tell you that Mac Jones is some type of bust based upon a 5-game sample size at the beginning of his career, but Mac Jones hasn't looked ultra hot. He hasn't looked amazing. And the Dallas Cowboys defense has looked amazing. They have looked very stout, and the Patriots struggled last week mightily with the Houston Texans defense, especially early on in the game. The Texans defense finished up against the Patriots with 1 sack, 1 INT, 1 fumble recovery, and 25 points allowed. And again, that was the Houston Texans defense. The Houston Texans defense isn't all that great. The Dallas Cowboys defense is so far above skill-wise compared to the Houston Texans that this could be an amazing game out of the Dallas Cowboys defense. So I expect them to put up a big spot, and that is why they are my number 1 defense to stream on the week. My number 2 defense to stream on the week is the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Houston Texans. The Colts defense is being rostered in 63.4% of leagues. Now, last week, they had an ultra-tough matchup up against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. The Colts defense starts off that game looking insanely good. They are locking down Lamar Jackson. They are completely locking down the entire offensive attack of the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens couldn't run the ball at all until deeper down in the game on the Colts defense. But at the end of the game, despite the amazing efforts to stop the Ravens early on in the game, the Ravens just crawled their way back in and ultimately won that game. Now, had Rodrigo Blankenship not been banged up, the Colts probably win that game, but obviously, with the injuries, they don't win, and the Baltimore Ravens win. The Colts defense in that game, they had 2 sacks, they had 1 fumble recovery, and they had 31 points allowed in that game. So again, they did choke last week, but that was up against one of the best offenses in the whole National Football League in the Baltimore Ravens. This week, they get the Houston Texans. And the Houston Texans offense actually played surprisingly well up against the Patriots last week, but I think the Colts defense is going to look very good this week up against a very easy opponent in the Houston Texans. So I expect the Colts to play very, very well this week up against the Houston Texans. Next up, my number 3 defense to stream is the Miami Dolphins going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, this game is technically a home game for the Jaguars, but this game is being played in England right now. The Dolphins defense is being rostered in 43.7% of leagues, which is surprising at this point because the Dolphins defense has been downright horrendous for basically the whole season, except for in that game up against the Patriots in week number 1. But my thought process here is that Tua Tagovailoa is going to play, and when Tua plays, and when the game is able to be kept close, when the Dolphins don't just get the doors blown off them, and the offense can't answer, when the offense can't answer the call, nothing happens, and then the defense just gives up. But in this game, going up against the Jaguars with Tua under center, presumably, I believe the Dolphins defense actually wakes up and plays well in this game. Last week, they got the doors blown off by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers offense. 2 sacks and 45 points allowed. 45 points allowed. Wow. That's 1 point for every year Tom Brady's been on this earth. Maybe he's not 45 years old, but that man's old as fuck. But at the end of the day, the Dolphins should look a lot better up against the Jaguars. Last week, the Tennessee Titans defense at the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Tennessee Titans defense is not good at all, and they had 2 sacks, 1 INT, 1 fumble recovery, 1 touchdown, and 19 points allowed. So if there was ever a time for the Dolphins defense to actually wake up and play well, it's this game in England up against the Jacksonville Jaguars with their actual starting quarterback under center. So I love the Dolphins defense this week. But before we get on in to the 4th defense to stream, I would like to let you guys know that we have partnered with Yahoo Fantasy this NFL season to bring you guys an exclusive deal that gets you 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum. To qualify, you need to be new to Yahoo, sign up for an account via the link in the video description, deposit, and play. That's it. Yahoo will send us your name after you play in your first paid contest, and we'll reach out to you via email with your coupon. If you need immediate access because you want to play today, please email support@awesemo.com and we'll get you set up. Just to emphasize, this offer is for new Yahoo users only. If you're already a Yahoo user, then you will not be eligible for this promo. In addition, you can claim $10 of free contest entry credit on the site that can be used to enter any Yahoo contest, including our Awesemo special for NFL week number 6 that is awarding $10,000 and a year of Awesemo Plus Platinum to first place. There's less than 2,000 spots available, so hurry up and click to the link in the description below to enter. Make sure that you use our DFS tools and projections designed specifically for Yahoo to give yourself the best shot of winning big. Take advantage and join Yahoo Fantasy today. So next defense to be talking about in today's video is the Cincinnati Bengals going up against the Detroit Lions in Detroit. Right now, the Bengals defense is being rostered in 5.0% of leagues. Now, last week, the Bengals went up against the Packers, so you're not going to expect that defense to play all that well in what was one of the crazier games of the week because of all of the missed field goals. In that game, the Bengals defense had 2 sacks on Aaron Rodgers, 1 INT, and 25 points allowed. But the kind of reason why you want to stream the Bengals is not because there's some elite defense. It's because of the matchup this week up against the Detroit Lions, who lost what could be just a terrible game. They lost so bad that Dan Campbell was crying after the game because he had his heart ripped out by the Minnesota Vikings kicker. Week 5, the Vikings defense against the Lions, 4 sacks, 1 INT, 1 fumble recovery, and 17 points allowed. And the Vikings defense isn't all that amazing as well, so it should be no surprise if the Bengals finish as one of the stronger defenses on the week going up against a not-so-hot Lions offense. Final defense to stream of the week is the Green Bay Packers going up against the Chicago Bears. Right now, the Packers defense is being rostered in 33.5% of leagues. Week number 5, the Packers went up against the Bengals. In that game, they had 3 sacks, 2 INTs, and 22 points allowed. They ended up hurting Joe Burrow. Somehow Joe Burrow comes back like the fucking Undertaker and plays in the rest of the game, which was very surprising. Shows a lot of heart out of Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow looked very solid in that game. But this week, they're going up against the Bears. And while Bill Lazor seems to have figured some things out and fixed some things for the Bears, they're still not an amazing offense. And the Packers defense, despite being hurt, looked really good against the Bengals. So I feel like they could look pretty solid this week up against a division rival in the Chicago Bears. Week 5, the Raiders played up against the Bears. They had 2 sacks and 20 points allowed, but the Raiders just didn't play very well at all in that game. And I think the Packers defense is going to look strong up against the Chicago Bears. So I'm willing to rank them as my number 5 defense to pick up on the week. So thank you guys all so much for watching today's video. If you did end up enjoying, make sure you do hit that subscribe button down below. Again, not only is it free, we put out content every single day to help you guys win your 2021 Fantasy Football Championship. I love you guys so much. Make sure you follow me on Twitter if you did enjoy. Myself, @NotoriousFNTSY. I love you guys all, as always. Goodbye.